establish quorum, please?
Yes. Hiren Govin, President.
Present.
Roland Gomez, Vice President.
Present.
Daniel Dan Diaz, Secretary.
Present.
Aaron Ronnie Rivera, Treasurer.
Present.
Veronica Gonzalez, Director.
Present.
Sabrina Walker Hernandez, Director. Raul Resendez, Director.
Present.
And we have quorum.
Perfect. If you can certify public notice as well, please?
The notice was posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act on August 13th at 1:25 p.m.
Thank you. Moving on to public comments, do we have anybody in the audience or on Zoom that signed up for public comments? No. All right, I will close public comments. Moving on to agenda item A. I have recused myself from this topic in the past, so I'm going to continue to do that based on advice of counsel. So Roland, if you want to take over that, please.
Agenda item A.
Yes, we have Ocean Gate Investments here for the board to consider approval of a $500,000 payment pursuant to the terms of their development agreement. In your packet, you have the terms outlined in the agreement. So you have 3 installments of $250,000. The first one in May 24, 2019, the second one May 24, 2020, and the third one in on or after May 24, 2021. No payments have been issued to Ocean Gate Investments, and the request here is he's requesting $500,000 pursuant to the second and third payment terms, so $500,000 total. And our staff recommendation is approval. And he's here.
Okay. Does the applicant have anything to say?
Thanks for having me. First, I say the city of Edinburg did a good job on COVID-19 for the last 18 months. Business people really appreciate that. And we're really looking forward to seeing you all doing some better stuff. This project was really a difficult project because of the gas line was in the middle of the property. And we have worked with a lot of city offices to make this happen. And I think you can see the fruits of our stuff over there that we did. You see the taxes, you see the sales tax, and this is some of the sales tax from the walk-ons. If it wasn't for us, the walk-ons would not be there because he would not be there at all. So if you want to look at some of the sales taxes, the walk-ons that provided you for the last 18 months, that'll be beneficial for you guys. Okay, thank you.
I have a question though. Are the hotels themselves open?
Yeah.
Okay, they are open and they're operating.
It's
Do we have the any kind of revenue statement for the hotels?
It's there already.
Okay.
Yeah. I can give you a share. I can share it with you. Yeah.
Thank you. And I know that the contract had initially stated that the first project was to be completed by May of 2019. That one was not met. Is that correct?
Because of the gas line. We had to move the gas line and all that
Okay.
stuff.
And then the second one that was going to be completed by May of 2020.
That was met.
That one, was it met in May 2020 or was it after May 2020?
The second one is met.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that the second one came after, but maybe it's not. And then you've got another one for on or after May 24, 2021, was the third payment for the second hotel. But weren't these conditioned, I'm trying to remember, weren't these conditioned on the first one? Do you remember that? I thought that was what the agreement had provided, that the payments were being conditioned on the first hotel having been done by the first date, and then the second and third payments would be based on that.
Yeah, I'll second what Barney was trying to say. If staff could please summarize why there was an initial payment done. I think there was a lack of a goal there, and if you could just summarize why we're here today. Why is it such a large amount?
We do staff recommendation first. Okay. So, staff recommendation on this is based on the dates of when these certificates of occupancy were issued. So in the contract, the first payment, that CO had to have been issued by May 24th, 2019. That was not issued until that December. So our recommendation there was no payment. On the second one, you can see that he did make the window there for that CO issuance by about a little over a month. It was issued on April 17th of 2020 and had to be issued before May 24th. The third payment, per the contract terms, there really was no sort of performance standard on that one. All the contract says is on or after May 24th. So the request now is for payments 2 and 3. That's what staff is recommending. In terms of kind of the cascading of one being dependent on another, I'll let Omar answer that for legal counsel.
So that was in fact a question that came up that staff presented, and I did look into it. If the board would like a consultation on that, my suggestion would be to take that into executive session so I could provide that consultation.
Omar, I'd like to make a motion to take it into executive session.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Take this item into executive session. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. One abstain. Yeah, abstention. Motion carries. Okay. I'll hand it back over to our president.
Right. So just to be clear for the record, the item will be discussed in executive session, but we're still in the open until the board moves to go into executive session.
Correct. Okay.
Thank you for that, Roland. Okay, moving on to agenda item B, consider the approval of sale of property at 800 Constitution Drive, lot number 5 in the North Industrial Park.
Yes, this item was presented in the previous board meeting. Mr. Solar from MVLE Enterprises, Inc. Is asking to purchase a property at 800 Constitution Drive, Lot 5 at the North Industrial Park for the amount of $168,500. He is relocating RGV Tours from FAR to Edinburg and is bringing over 12 jobs and expected to have 10 job growth in the future. And the action item that the board assigned to Mr. Solano was to bring back a design and or rendering of the building of what he's planning to do in the North Industrial Park. And he has that. He provided that. It's part of your packet, and I'll share my screen as well.
Okay. Mr. Galvan, or Mr. Solar on Zoom, or? Oh, if you would.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here today. I know last meeting I was in Disney World, taking a group of people with RGV Tours. Hope to see you guys on one of our tours as well. So this is what you're seeing, right? Are you looking at the same? Oh, there it is. Okay, so I have the rendering. It's page 6 and page 8 of the design of the building, and that's what I understood was pending on the last meeting. Okay, so we're gonna build this in 2 phases. Phase 1 will be our warehouse and with a small office building, which we'll use for our business, to operate our business until we finish phase 2. Then that will become our maintenance department. I brought this too, but I guess it's the same thing. See what you guys are seeing. We are already in the process of hiring more employees, drivers, and mechanical personnel. And we've made it a point of, looking for people from Edinburg. We've been, working for the past 14 years in the Valley. We are the transportation company for UTRGV. And there are some new teams, new sports coming, in the near future that we've heard about. And we have a 3-year contract that we just extended with UTRGV to provide with their transportation. And we also just submitted a bid to do a transportation line from Edinburg to Bronzeville. We hope to also land that, and that will continue to help us grow our business.
Excellent. What's your time frame on between phase 1 and phase 2?
We're expecting it to be less than a year. It goes back to permits and whatnot, but we're expecting it to be within a year. We can do that phase 2 of the building.
Excellent.
And Blanca, this is within the appraised value, is that correct, the sales price?
Yes,
Or
correct.
the offer?
Yes, it's in line with the appraisal.
Okay.
Mr. Salaran, thank you for coming today. I do remember speaking to you when you were in Disney World and we were here. We all got a chuckle out of that. The building looks great. Thank you for providing the design, or the rendering, I should say. And I just want to verify with staff, the last time, the only thing we were requesting is a rendering to know what was going there, right? That's the only thing that held us up? Okay. Thank you for coming, sir.
Thank you.
Council, any more questions? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve, as stated.
Second. All those in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And also for the record, I'd like to acknowledge that Council member, Commission member Sabrina Walker walked in between agenda items A and B. All right, moving on to agenda item C, and is my understanding, City Manager Mr. Garza is going to be presenting for C, D, and E at the same time, and then we will take each action item separately afterwards.
So items C, D, and E are the technical and the administrative functions for the series bonds that we called this specially scheduled meeting for. However, the presentation I'm going to do is just really for public record, to really communicate to the public what the projects actually are, where this funding is going. And then I know we have Andre from Hilltop, I think on Zoom, and then we have Mr. Vela here. So any technical questions relating to those, they can address. But I'm just going to quickly reference some of the projects, just again, in terms of, and this presentation, I'm actually doing it twice today, so I'll do it again at the City Council level, and again, that's just for full public transparency so that we can inform the public what we're doing with the project. So this is formerly called the Series 2021 Bond Program. If you recall, this is a joint partnership effort between the City of Edinburg that will be doing general purpose projects. Those are CO bonds in the amount of $23 million for the projects. And then EDC will have $7 million for non-taxable and $2 million for taxable. So, and I'm going to get into exactly what those cover. And then EDC, we're doing 13.75 for debt refinance of existing debt. I do want to, something I'll be doing tonight at City Council is presenting our quarterly budget and finance report, just really to reinstate, we're such in a great health of the economy here locally. Our property tax up is about 11% from last year. Sales tax is just over 16% from last year. That was higher than last year. So we're just, very fortunate to have enormous growth, both on the sales tax and property tax. So all of these projects, I do want to ensure the public that the council has already stated that they have no recommended increase to ad valorem property taxes. That rate is recommended to stay the same. and no increases to any utility or solid waste or any other fee that would supplement this. All of these projects is just anticipated to be paid for by revenue growth. So the projects, this is a breakdown, including the fees. So we tried to, again, I tried to simplify these, but it's essentially 4 different categories. We can take it from left to right, and Project A is something we've been referencing as the ACE Center, which really stands for Arts, Culture, and Events Center. That's just a tag name we've been using as a project for now. It's very important to note that that facility will also be the annex to City Hall. So it's a very unique, and I'll go into some specifics from that. So between the city and the EDC, total project furnishings, landscape, engineering, and construction is right at $14 million. That's about a 45,000 square foot facility. And again, I'll show some design and some concepts right now. Project B is a parking garage. Right now, I was just standing outside the hallway there. Valdeguera, the executive director, Hidalgo County, just handed me the executed copy of the county commissioners held a special meeting today and approved the conveyance at zero cost to us at the corner of McIntyre and Klausner. So that is just adjacent, just half block there. It's an amazing piece of property. By valuation, it's over $500,000, but it's more than, from market rate on that is probably double that cost. So zero cost to us. All we have to do is fulfill the commitment of building the facility, as we've talked about, and I'll show some other pictures. On the city side as well, an additional $2 million. This is for downtown sidewalks, some curbs, some lighting. This is specifically as TxDOT starts their construction project. They'll basically be tearing out that roadway of all 107. This $2 million supplements them to do the beautification of, again, street lights, improved pavers on the curbs, and all the other landscaping improvements that's required of a project of that magnitude. The only other thing that is not downtown-centric is an additional $6 million earmarked in the city for right-of-way street expansions. So we've already identified several streets that need parcels to expand, and that is so that we can secure the right-of-way for that. But everything else besides that $6 million is specifically earmarked going all in with downtown revitalization. So I know we had, many discussions. We had a workshop at the EDC level, same thing with the city side, that right now with the construction of the courthouse and kind of the lull of activity, that this is an opportune time for us to kind of go all in to catalyze that. So that summarizes the cost breakdown, but I'll jump a little bit into the projects. This is the block. We're actually dedicating this as a park on our parks directory. We're just doing another name as a placeholder as Promenade Park, just because it's a park on the promenade. There's nothing special to that. So, but this is the building that will, or the kind of the centric point that a lot of these funds will be geared at. This is a picture. I'm kind of embarrassed of it now, but I showed this back when we first started about this project. It looks like a cartoon there, but it does indicate kind of the vision. And what you see there on the very right-hand side is the pink block. That is the half block that the county's conveying to us. You'll see those dark brown. Those dark brown are going to be some paver and sidewalk expansions just to improve mobility through the aspects. The triangle is the amphitheater that has already been funded. It's not funded by this bond series, but that is already in motion, but it's part of the grand scale. Amphitheater, the purple box is restrooms. The blue dot is a water garden feature. And then, of course, that kind of yellowish box is our multi-purpose facility, that 45,000 square foot facility. The best part of doing this in collaboration with the county with a parking garage is that it'll be completely green space. It'll have the facility, which is in a large facility there, but everything else, with the exception of about 45 parking spots that were remaining there on the side, on the west side, and that's really only so we can preserve those trees and have other kind of quick in and out parking, high accessibility parking for those mobility challenge, that kind of thing. But this is basically going to turn into the hub of our downtown area, greater downtown area.
Ron, the green was the seating?
Yes, yeah.
Just for the record.
Yeah, the amphitheater levels. So this is what it'll really look like. Again, this gives you a picture of the entire block is just under 5 acres, with just under 4 acres being just park green space. So Again, if you're watching a performance or something going on at the amphitheater, we've dissected that block perfectly at 45-degree angle, so you have the backdrop of the grand courthouse right behind you. So it's nice and picturesque. Also, from a festival standpoint, I know most of our festivals are held on this side, but sunset's right in your eyes. Here we'll have City Hall, and the way the sunset's kind of at this angle, we'll have more shade blockage, and then we'll have that building. You can see the footprint of the building. We had already started our architectural program design. ERO Architects is doing that A Center building. But you can see there, and there's better pictures of it here coming up, but you can see a second floor. It'll be a single-story building. The only thing that'll be on the second floor is about a 1,200 square foot terrace. So when you're on that terrace, you'll have the upstairs and downstairs covered, but again, facing east, so as you're on the terrace or down below, you'll have access to viewing anything that's going on. So, from an amphitheater standpoint, this is not a traditional amphitheater where it has a huge berm, because we wanted it to be a full inclusive space. So you can literally be standing maybe right outside of City Hall and still see it'll be a raised 4 feet stage. So it'll be all one space. And again, they'll have the electrical outlets connections, because the grand vision was our food truck park will move there with the food trucks aligned down the promenade. So again, this is the amphitheater. You'll see the stage there at that angle. Every section is 20 feet, so it's 20 feet. It's a raise of 18 inches, 20 feet, raise of 18 inches, till you kind of go flat. And then that circular feature is the actual water gardens. This is the design of the stage of the amphitheater. All this architectural, they're using the term transitional architecture, which basically is taking elements that already exist in the area and City Hall. So you'll see like the archways, things like that. There's elements to tie parts of downtown and the architecture from City Hall all together. This is the footprint of the building. Again, somewhere between 42,000 to 45,000 square feet. It'll have a grand ballroom, a lobby that'll be kind of that pre-function area so that you can use as an event space, like press conferences, things like that. It'll have a cafe directly to the east that'll be independent, so that can be run at different hours. And then you have multi-purpose classroom space. So that'll be what you see on classrooms. There'll be a variety of multi-purpose rooms that could be also used as art galleries. I mean, literally, wearing all kinds of hats was the design of this. So the comms, that's our communications department. So our communications department here will be moving over there, giving them a better footprint in terms of a studio. And that studio will also be converted into what's called a black box theater. And that's something very specific that the cultural arts stakeholders really wanted. So that's more of a small, kind of an intimate type theater setting. And the good news of doing communications in that style, they'll be able to also do capacity building. So we'll do a lot of things with students of, high school, college, even elementary and junior high, and just really build capacity for graphic arts, studio, all that kind of thing. And then in the back of the building will be all our office space. We'll have about 3 departments housed in there. So you have an outdoor area and then second floor terrace. That's the front of the building, and again, you'll see a lot of the elements. The canopy there will look almost identical to the amphitheater stage. The brickwork will be very similar to things you find around City Hall, but then they're definitely keeping aesthetic elements of the Sam Houston High School. So I think they found a really unique way to blend all that architecture together. That white building, which is, again, reminiscent of the high school, is the actual cafe, but then you can go right outside the cafe and have outdoor eatery on the bottom, which is shade protected because you have the terrace right above you, and all that faces anything going on in the green space. Again, those are just different views. So that's the building. Downtown parking structure, I know we've talked about this specifically, but right now, so it's almost an acre. It has 99 parking spaces, but we're almost going to triple that. And we've had extensive conversation that half of the ground floor will be mixed-use retail, so which is the main entrance to the county. This will be available 24/7. We've already compared rates to the city of McAllen and city of Brownsville, so parking rate per hour is right about $1. So really nominal, easy, convenient, low costs. It'll be 250 plus. We think we can get about 275 parking spaces, something like that. So, and I know we've talked extensively about that, but I know the public has not seen. And again, this rendering here, this graphic, that was just done in-house. We'll go for an RFP for design, the whole shebang there. But again, it'll have kind of that concourse element where you have a lot of outdoor space. That'll be kind of the gathering. But, again, for those that visit downtown, you can't walk to any eatery. So, again, and this will be administered and facilitated by the Economic Development Department. And again, it'll be a catalyst for small business in the downtown area.
Ron, I want to just mention something on the parking garage. Do we have the heights of in between each of the parking?
I don't have the dimensions. It'll be 3 floors, and if you can, let me see if I can stop the video, but unique to getting, and we basically took a lot of the concept at the McAllen garage. When you actually enter the garage, besides accessible parking, so there'll be a landing for accessible. Let's see if I can stop that right there. There'll be a landing for accessible, but as soon as you start going up the incline, you're already parking at that inclined. So it's kind of I think it's like a 10-to-1 slope. So I don't know the heights of the actual floors. So
just something to consider. A lot of the major hospitals, like in big cities, not all of them have the right heights for like trucks. Got a lot of trucks in our community, so sometimes if I go with my truck to Houston or MD Anderson, I can't park in any of those. Sure. So something to consider.
Yeah, again, that'll have to be a balance between,
number of spaces.
Numbers
and just something to consider.
We did already consider for the retail space there, on the backside, you can see the bollards. That'll be kind of a loading dock area where somebody can just kind of pull in, load, unload, that kind of thing. And again, all this was in-house. I personally think the red's a little flashy. We want to, with a museum right next door, we want to make sure aesthetically it kind of blends to that. But again, this was just the creativity of some of our staff, which they did an awesome job.
Ron, first of all, on the ACE building, I just want to thank you also for the arches are really good about being kind of synchronized with what the university has in terms of where the Performing Arts Center is. And so I think it all flows very nicely.
That was a consideration for sure.
Yeah. And on the parking, I mean, first of all, I want to congratulate your staff and everyone else who worked on this because it looks amazing, especially having the mixed use, the retail at the bottom because you're right. I mean, there's so many times that people leave the courthouse, want to go grab a quick lunch, or people that work there and stuff, and sometimes they don't know where to go. And this will be so convenient, and it'll be so close by. So congratulations on that. The revenues that will come from the parking will be used to maintain the garage. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. And the surrounding area, we want to make sure, again, with this kind of investment, that the landscape is just kind of impeccable, pavers, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. We're doing some substantial changes on the city side just in terms of the way we maintain downtown, but I'll be the first to say I'm not proud of the way it looks right now. So, this investment will change the way we support it.
And what will be the timing in comparison to the drainage project that's being looked at for downtown?
So in terms of completion, the parking garage will probably beat the completion of the drainage. So, which again should not at all impede it.
Won't interfere with
No, there's actually on that block. See if I can go to my little map. On that block, you can't really see it there, but along Klosner there is a on-site detention facility. There's trees there. We're going to try and preserve those trees, but if not, that on-site detention will go underground.
Okay.
So to tie in. But quite honestly, you have your action before you tonight. The City Council has their action tonight to ratify this and approve their part. And then that is the final action required. I mean, we can go to RFP for design really quickly after this. So there'll be no other restrictions. So. Any other questions?
Yeah, Ron, when is your timeline for completion?
So the amphitheater, let me do it better justice. The amphitheater and the water gardens that feature, that has already been funded. Actually, tonight too, we are taking the construction contract for council's consideration tonight. So they can break ground on that next month. So the green space portion will break ground next month and be about a 10-month project.
Okay.
The building is already in the design phase, so right around March is when they'll bid out for construction, and that'll be about a year from that date. So about a year from next May, so May of 2023 to finish the facility. And then the parking garage will be about that same timeline.
Okay.
So, but again, the good news is that the green space, the amphitheater, the water gardens, I mean, that is set for construction starting next month.
Okay, so midsummer
Yeah.
next year?
Yeah, we're going to try and push them hard, so hopefully, you know, for next summer, we have that amphitheater fully functional.
Excellent.
And then everything by May 2023.
Yeah, that's what we're shooting.
When is tech start?
The amphitheater, May 2022, I'm sorry. The amphitheater will be summer of 2022. The facility and the parking garage of the 2023.
And is that with TechStot? When is they finish?
TechStot will probably, they're looking right now right around mid-2022 to get going. So, yeah, hopefully they don't leak into 2023. But there's not much we can do there, but just work with them on some of the, you know, one thing that they have looked at is the way the roads line up. With consultation from our Chief Snyder, with the fire department, and with TechStot, it looks like that road leading out, McIntyre leading out to the square, we're going to do one way, then turn. So they'll put what's called a pork chop there, so you can't come in a little safer there, since that's going to be such a pedestrian-heavy area. Any other questions? And again, this was just summarizing the projects. If there's anything technical, again, we have Andre with Hilltop on the line. If there's anything you'd like to know about the interest rates or the debt refinance or anything else.
Thank you, Ron.
Okay.
From Hilltop, I think if we, go over the financial savings of, for Santana, I'd appreciate that.
Hi, Andre, we can't hear you.
Can you hear us, Andre? We can't hear you. We still can't hear you, Andre. Nope. I think we got you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Andre with Hilltop Securities. My partner, Chris, is in the audience as well. And I'm going to try to simplify our presentation. We went through a financing plan in detail back in June. And I'm very pleased to tell you that we have good results for the Edinburg EDC. We have good rating results for the corporation on the rated bonds. And overall, I think that the transaction was a success this morning. I'm going to start by talking about the refinancing of the Santana debt. Ron went through the projects in detail, and I want to show you where we landed on the refinancing of those bonds. When we talked about this back in June, we mentioned that the intention was to refinance 100% of the Santana bonds that were issued back in 2015. So we would be issuing roughly $13.5 million worth of bonds to achieve that. The final numbers ended up very close at $13,610,000 needed for that purpose. We talked about a contribution of the balance in the Series 2015 debt service reserve fund that was set aside back then. So that will be used to pay down outstanding Santana bonds. And the savings were exceeded by a little bit based on what we discussed in June. So when we talked about this, we budgeted a taxable interest rate of 2.13%. The final numbers this afternoon landed at 2.09% taxable fixed all the way through 2035. So the cash flow savings that the corporation will be achieving as a result of this refinancing are at $2,293,000. That's including the contribution of the reserve fund. On an average annual savings, we're going to be very close to what we budgeted. We budgeted $162,800, and we're going to end up with $163,800, so about $1,000 more than our budget. In addition, our bond rating on the senior lien for the Edinburg Economic Development Corporation was affirmed as a AA- by Standard & Poor's, so that is a good result for everybody. And we got a nice surprise from Standard & Poor's. They, without us asking, they upgraded our second lien bond rating from BBB plus to a single A rating. So congratulations to the staff and the board on that achievement. Those are the results of the refinancing board. I will take any questions at this time before moving forward with the new projects.
So the total savings over the 15 years will be roughly 2.3 million, 2.29?
2.29.
Yes, with the inclusion of that reserve fund that we contributed.
That's terrific.
That was 500,000, what was it? How much was the reserve fund that we're adding?
The reserve fund is $1,467,000. You can see that here on this column is a contribution of the reserve fund. These are our gross savings with the reserve fund. If you're looking just at interest savings alone, we're talking about $825,000.
Excellent.
That's good.
You can continue, Andre, please. Thank you.
Okay. In addition to our refinancing, we discussed the issuance of two new series of bonds, 2021A and 2021B, 21A being the tax-exempt portion, 21B being the taxable portion for the private use. As discussed in June, our budgeted bond amount for the series 2021A was $7,740,000. We were able to shave off $10,000. Our final par amount for that series is $7,730,000. We are funding a $7 million project on this one. We will have a debt service reserve fund account for these bonds set aside out of bond monies. There is no cash contribution from the EDC for this one. And we have our financing costs to get this transaction done. This is a 25-year bond. The final payment is in August of 2046. And the final non-rated, non-insured, tax-exempt interest rate on this bond is going to be a 3.44% fixed. Our budget was a 3.75. What this means is that we are about $28,000 under budget from a cash flow perspective, $220,000 under budget overall cash flow on the tax-exempt portion of the projects that were just described by our city manager. Any questions, board?
Nope. Please continue.
Okay. The second one is a taxable transaction. This is the $2 million project. The final bond amount here is $2,250,000, which is $25,000 less than the projected budget. We will be funding a $2 million project, private use. We do have a debt service reserve fund out of bond monies. We have our financing costs, and that adds up to our bond issue. This is a 25-year transaction as well. Final payment, August of 2046. This one came over budget at a 5.24 fixed taxable interest rate versus the 470 that we were budgeting here. On an annual cash flow perspective, it means $4,000 more than what we thought. Overall, $260,000 more than what we thought. Now, when you blend everything together, I want to show you a number here. We talked about what is really our budgetary impact of doing this program. So we have a refunding or refinancing, we have the 21A bonds, and we have the 21B bonds. So once you add everything together between the savings and the new addition of the debt, we have a budgetary adjustment of $450,000. What we had in our budget overall, combining everything, was close to $480,000. So again, pleased to tell you that once you blend in the refinancing, the tax-exempt pricing, and the final taxable pricing, our budgetary impact is $450,000, which is less than what we projected initially.
Excellent. Do you have anything else for us, Andre?
No, again, just congratulations to the board and the staff. Again, the achievement of the AA- rating on the senior lien and the nice surprise that we got from Standard & Poor's on your second lien. We put in the report here for those that may want to read the excerpts, and pleased to tell you that your corporation is now on a second lien basis an A-rated entity.
Thank you, Andre. We appreciate it. And also, thank you to the staff and the team for working so hard on this. We know it's been a long process.
Thank you, guys, and congratulations, staff. The chart that we were looking at, do we have access to that here? I couldn't find that summary.
I think it's on this. It's right here.
On the addendum.
On the
Yeah,
second.
can somebody direct me to it? Because,
There are 3 additional packets.
yeah, I've got the 3 packets here, but that whole,
This presentation, we can email it to you. Yeah.
so I don't have that, right?
No, not right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody have any more questions or comments? No?
I had a question. The original maturity date was supposed to be what? So, I mean, are we keeping the maturity date and just refinancing? Or were we extending out the maturity date?
It stays the same.
Okay, perfect.
So
Thank you.
it's 15 years, I believe, right? 15
Yeah,
years.
on the refinancing board, we have a 14-year remaining repayment, and we're staying with 14-year repayment on those bonds.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Any more questions or comments? So I'm going to take each agenda item separately. So I'll entertain a motion for agenda item C.
Make a motion to approve agenda item C as presented.
I'll second it.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Raise your right hand. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. I will entertain a motion on agenda item D.
I'll make a motion on agenda item D
For approval?
for approval, yes.
Second.
All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Say aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. And agenda item D, I'll entertain a motion. E, sorry.
Motion to approve. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Raise your right hand. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. I will entertain a motion to enter executive session.
Make a motion to enter executive session.
Second.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed, same sign. It is 4:44 p.m. and we'll be entering executive session.
I still think they need to have them sign it.
And those are kind of slow.
And they sound like a
So-
hawking bird.
Getting paid on second, third, no, they didn't finish the first one. I asked him, are you really?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds like a bird all over them.
Oh, we gonna let him in for? Just in case. We good? All right, it's 5:08 PM. I'll entertain a motion to re-enter open session.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. It's 5:09 PM. We'll move into open session, and I'm going to be handing it over to Roland and abstaining.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Kazan, can you approach the podium, please? For agenda item A, staff, you have any questions for Mr. Kazan?
I have a question. Mr. Kassan, first of all, thank you for the information that you provided to us, sir. So you're here today, I just wanted to be clear, you're here today requesting the last two payments, each in the amount of $250,000 for a total of $500,000, as referenced in the development agreement of 2018. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that would then close out the development agreement that we have with you?
If you want to give me more, you can give me more.
Well, no, I'm just asking, I'm trying to make sure that we understand what we're voting on.
Because when I built my Holiday Inn Express and had the same agreement, I was 6 months late, and they honored it that time. So this time when I came, I didn't question why they're not going to pay me. You know what I'm saying? Because if you look at the results, you saw the results. That's more than a matter for you guys, the city, collecting taxes, paying property tax, employment. It's there.
Well, sir, we're going off of a development
I
agreement that
understand.
had been entered into between you and a prior group, a prior council.
Yeah.
And so we are just, for our purpose today, we want to make sure that we understand what we're voting on and that we're all comfortable with it. And so, and I think, we appreciate the fact that you presented this information, but please understand, we're basing it on an agreement that had been entered into back in 2018, and we're trying to make sure that agreement, we can close this out with you. And so we know that you're here today asking for two payments, $250,000 each, for those were the last two payments
Right.
under that agreement. Would that be fair?
That'd be fair.
Okay, then I would like to make a motion to authorize staff to enter into an agreement conditioned upon the discussion we had in executive session.
I have a motion. Can I have a second?
I second that motion.
Second. Any discussion? Okay. If all in favor, raise your hand.
I have a quick question.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Kassan, that property, did you own it before? Did you purchase it from someone?
Which one?
This property, the hotels, where the hotels
Yeah,
were
we
built?
purchased it from...
You purchased it
Yeah.
from someone at fair market value, no incentives at
no
that time?
incentives, no.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
Roland. Sir?
He must say some words, because he's a real estate
Just-
Sure,
agent.
go ahead.
Yes, sir, come on up.
Just for a matter of keeping everything straight, there is a motion and a second, so there's a live motion needing a vote, or you can rescind that motion and we can continue the discussion.
Let's go ahead and rescind the motion at this time so we can allow the discussion.
Good afternoon. This is my first time ever, you know me for a long time. My first time ever to give a speech. I met Mr. Kassan. I'm a real estate agent. I used to farm like 10,000 acres here in Edinburg, all this area. Just so you know,
What's your name,
look at
sir,
me.
for
I'm
the-
a real estate agent.
Your name for the record?
Angel
please?
Villanueva.
Thank you,
I'm a
sir.
real estate agent for A Plus Vision Realty. And I met Mr. Kassan here back in like 2008 when I met him. When I first met him, he was trying to purchase a lot of land in Far, McAllen. Edinburgh was just, kind of picking up his foot because we had gone through a big old, disaster at that time. So when I met him, he asked me if I knew, where properties were at and stuff like that. I said, hey, Edinburgh is a perfect place to come and invest. Since then, I've sold him practically all his properties. He built a Holiday Inn that we have there. We sold several Stripes, sold it to Stripes, sold to another plaza. Then we came in and we bought the property that you were asking questions from the Criscas, bought that project. These are properties that were paying agriculture taxes. We bought them into taxes, which you're talking about. He spent just on the one that we're having discussion right now, over $16 million. Sorry for my voice, my first time. He spent over $16 million there. So he's already paid in all the hotels that he's got here, I think about $1.1 million in taxes. That this is going to be for as long as they're in operation. So I appreciate if y'all can consider, the $500,000 right now that he's asking. He's done everything that is needed from the city zoning, everything. They're on operation. They're all operating. They're fully grown. Right now, we also have a lot of assets that he's bought that are also going to go into hotels. It's in plans. So my thing to you all is, I don't want to lose him as a customer. I've been kept him here in Edinburgh, and I don't want to lose him as a customer. So I do appreciate if y'all could vote for him to get this money. He's already done his job, and very well.
Thank you, Mr. Villanueva.
Thank you, Angel.
Thank you.
On my part, thank you for bringing someone into Edinburgh, and we always applaud people that do that. And thank you you did great, by the way. Thank you for having the courage.
First time here. I also have another client, Aerial Investment with the domain. All his subdivisions, I sold them. I sold all those, and a lot of other stuff that I brought here to Edinburgh.
Thank you,
I play
sir.
low key. Normally, I don't like to come here or do anything. I just sell the properties, and it's a bunch of properties that, like I told you, I was a farmer. These guys have been paying $500, $800. I know that we put houses. You all benefit from them. Developers invested from them. So that's my whole objective, to bring people here. I know where their lands. I know where they want, and I know where it's at, and I work with them. That's what we're trying to do.
Thank you very much, Mr. Villanueva.
Hopefully you'll see me down the road,
Yes. Thank you,
Okay.
Angel.
All
It's
right.
a pleasure to see you again.
All
At
right,
first, I
thank you.
didn't recognize you with the mask, but it's nice to see you.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you. Okay, so at this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Yes, and so I'd like to make a motion to authorize staff to enter into the agreement conditioned upon the discussion that we held in executive session.
One second.
Okay, I have a first and second. Any discussion? And all in favor, raise your right hand, signify by saying aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
One abstain.
With one
Oh,
abstention.
one abstain, that's correct. Sorry. I'll pass it on to Mr. President.
All right. And then also for the record, I did excuse myself during the discussion of this topic during executive session. All right. Is there any other business we'd like to discuss?
Congratulations, Mr. Kazan and Mr. Villanueva.
Thank you, everyone. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Awesome.
Thank you, guys.